Hi, this is Ernie. I'm the guy who had $6 in his checking account to now having millions of dollars. Lately, people have been asking, hey, how do you pick stocks? And how do you know which stocks to invest? So I want to share, and somebody specifically asked for SERV Robotics. The ticker is SERV. And I want to give you not only a news update, but what trends and data I have seen to make me believe that this could be a 10x, 20x, 30x, potentially even be 40x, just like Nvidia that I just recently exited. So let me show you my reasoning and thinking process behind how I choose. And I'm not saying I get everything right, because from time to time I get it wrong, but why I particularly chose SERV or SERV Robotics. So let me show you the news that just came out today, which is one of the reasons why it popped about 14%. But let me show you what it is and then how I chose this particular stock so that you can pretty much try to do the same thing. All right, SERV Robotics. Stock soar after Wedbush initiate coverage with outperform. So there's a famous gentleman named Dan Ives. He's really good about these. He correctly said something about Tesla, how it's going to do well. He said something about Nvidia. So he's been very well known, and he decided to come out and said, here, according to Ives, is uniquely positioned to capitalize on the acceleration adoption of AI-driven last mile delivery vehicles. And he put a $15 price target, and it was trading about $10 and went up to 11, I think close to $12. So it was an amazing day. And I think now that there is awareness and momentum, I think this stock is going to do really well down the road. So what did I see? For those who have followed me, I recently went to some conference where they talk about subscription. And over there, they talked a lot about last mile delivery. And when I spoke to some of the founders, one of the things that they mentioned was they have a really difficult time finding drivers. And in some cases, they are successful because a lot of Uber economy, like Uber drivers who does Uber Eats, they said maintenance, gas, and wear and tear on the car, simply the pay is just not there. So there has been some challenges recruiting and maintaining some of these drivers. And if you cannot get them, but there's a demand for food delivery, what do you need to do? You need to automate it, or you need to use robotics. That's where the SERV Robotics comes in. And this is just another article, tackling the delivery service driver shortage. There's a shortage at the moment. And what is the cause, what is the challenge, and what is the possible solution? And there are numerous articles like this that talks about how restaurants struggle to retain reliable drivers due to low wage, lack of benefits, rising fuel costs, and a bunch of other factors. And here's an article about what's fueling pizza deliveries critical driver shortage. Yes, pizza deliveries, and there is a research that says they prefer to drive for Uber and rideshare services like Lyft than driving for Papa John's or Domino's Pizza and a bunch of other companies. And this article talks about truck driver shortage, but it's not just truck driver shortage. For those who are relatively young, my parents' generation, work for one company and retire, go to a factory and work. When I used to live and work in Michigan, they were so proud that they started their career at a factory plant and then eventually moved on to become an executive. Younger generations, getting their fingers chopped off, putting grease under their nails, this is not what's considered sexy. So by 2020-30, there will be 9 million unfilled manufacturing jobs. Yes, 9 million unfilled manufacturing jobs. And with Mr. Trump bringing more manufacturing here, there is going to be even more shortage unless they pay ridiculous amount of salary. And I'm sure you have seen a lot of videos out there that talks about how, I remember there was a lady that's delivering food and she realized that there was no tip. And so she did something to the food and then splashed a soda onto his door. And when the guy came out and handed, I think it was like a $10 bill, she was like, oh my God, can I have that food back? She clearly did not want him to eat that food. So there's like dissatisfaction, distrust. There's a bunch of other factors. Not only that, when you utilize third-party vendors like Uber Eats, commission is so expensive. So a lot of the restaurants are now trying to come up with their own fleet. So when you go to Chick-fil-A, they have their own drivers. But of course, they're struggling to fill these jobs, and logistics companies like delivery, 90% turnover rate. So how do you solve that problem? And that's where the drones come in. But do you really want drones to drop your food in a little parachute and splashes all over your backyard? Probably not. Maybe they can like land, but there's always an issue with somebody beating up the drone, and it works the same way, right? You've seen some videos where there was a homeless person that decided to, use a baseball bat, beat up the SERV robotics robot, and took the food out. That will happen. That will always happen, but I think it's an isolated incident. And as this becomes mainstream and there's more protection and insurance, I think this is where the future is. And not only that, a lot of people are fixated on, it's just food delivery. Maybe what if, we had got into a recession and people just want to cook more at home. It could be groceries. It could be parts. Do you know that there are so many parts delivery, and very often those parts are delivered very late? So let's say you go to a mom and pop shop and they don't have an air filter. So what do? Of course, I do my own air filter. So people like me, you don't have to worry, but they call Napa or some other O'Reilly's, AutoZone, and then they place an order and the driver actually drives to the repair shop, deliver the parts. It's not cost efficient. They cannot find drivers either. So if they use SERV robotics, then all the parts simultaneously, you don't have to have one car dropping locations, multiple dropping locations. It could be all these SERV robotics going, multiple locations all at the same time delivering. And this is the beauty of utilizing robots to deliver. And there aren't that many companies out there who does this. And that's why I truly believe that once they become successful, make a strong use case in food delivery, and as soon as they start expanding to pharmaceuticals, right? Rather than you lining up and getting your insurance, if everything is paid and taken care of, they're just going to deliver it to your home, especially senior citizens who have a difficult time getting in and out of the car. Yeah, it could be pharmacies, it could be parts, it could be supermarkets, it could be food delivery. Things you could do could be endless. And that's why I think SERV Robotics is going to be the next winner that could potentially go 10x, 20x, 40x, even 1000x down the road. And the beauty of it is, you might be like, that's so many ifs and so many, assumptions. Food delivery market is projected to grow to $1.65 trillion. Yes, that's with a T. $1 trillion by 2027. If SERV can get 1%, only 1%, that means it's going to be how much money? It's going to be $16 billion in market share. Current market cap is about $700 million. Thinking about going to 16 billion. That's a huge, huge multiple, only to get 1%. Hopefully this answers your question on how I pick stocks and how I do research. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow, and don't forget to like and repost.